What's going on, everyone? I doing more research. I just can't stop today. Deacon persecutions. This was a persecution led by this Roman emperor who was demanding people to acknowledge the king god and to do sacrifice unto him to show loyalty to Rome. And Christians were faced with a decision of whether to go through with their beliefs and accept death or accept the Roman Empire as their Lord God, whatever have you. And this guy liked Jupiter. And look, hear me out here. Um, Restoration of traditional Roman piety was another of his aims, and after performing the annual sacrifice to Jupiter on January 3rd, 2050, he issued an edict, the text of which is lost, ordering sacrifices to the gods to be made throughout the empire. Jews were specifically exempted from this requirement. There is no evidence that this edict was intended to target Christians or that persecutions of Christians was even thought of as one of the effects of this decree. Rather, it was seen as a way of unifying a vast empire as a sort of loyalty oath. Nevertheless, this is the first time that Christians had faced legislation forcing them to choose between abandoning their religious beliefs and deaths. And this created animosity between Christians because some decided to go through and choose death over worshiping, I guess, Jupiter. You know what I mean? Come on. So really, who is the head of the Christian faith? Because it seems as if Jupiter is in control of the world. He is the Lord. And dare I say that Jesus is Saturn. Dare I say it. Because this right here proves that Decius worships Jupiter, and Roman and Jupiter was like the head pantheon of Rome. And it's not Saturn. Saturn was a lesser deity. They only celebrated him in, I believe, December. And I forgot what I was going to say. Regardless, requirements of the edict. The edict ordered that everyone in the empire, with the exception of Jews, which is strange, must sacrifice and burn incense to the gods and to the well-being of the emperor in presence of the Roman magistrate. So burning incense, that goes back to the altar. That goes back to what I was just making that video about. And get a written certificate called the Lib Ellis. That this had been done, signed by the magistrate and witnesses. Numerous examples of these libelli, I can't pronounce shit, survived from Egypt, for instance. I'm not going to read that. There's nothing in these extant libelli about any necessity of denying being a Christian. In contrast to the letter of the Roman provincial governor Pliny the Younger, I can't read, I really can't fucking read, had written to the Emperor Trajan in 112, which reported that suspected Christians who had cursed Christ were freed. Julius Caesar had formulated a policy of allowing Jews to follow their traditional religious practices, a policy which was followed and extended by Augustus. This gave Judaism the status of religio lecita. Is a phrase used in the Apologeticum, I can't read Latin, of Tertullian to describe the special status of the Jews in the Roman Empire. It is not an official term in Roman law. Interesting. Permanent religion. So Christianity wasn't a permanent religion. Why? Because it's rebellious. Throughout the empire, Roman authorities respected tradition and religion, and the Jews were following the beliefs and practices of their ancestors. It was well understood that Jews would not perform sacrifices to Roman gods or burn incenses before an image to the emperor. In contrast, the Christians were a new phenomenon, and one that did not seem like a religion to Roman authorities at all. Both the earliest extant Roman references to Christianity, Pliny the Younger and Tacitus in his Annals about 116, referred to Christianity as superstitio. Excessive and non-traditional religious honesty that was socially disruptive. Yeah, that's what I mean. Christians had abandoned the religion of their forefathers and were seeking to convert others, which seemed dangerous to the Romans. Refusal to sacrificing for the emperor's well-being appeared seditious. So, I mean, okay, so you're running an empire, and you're trying to keep order, and you have a Christian sect trying to usurp your order, and you're an emperor, and you have a cruel hand. What are you going to do? I don't get what Christians thought. I don't get why they would want to go to Rome and do this. Like, what? It's just like this religion is just trying to take Rome down, and now that Rome's gone, but Rome isn't gone. I don't fucking know. Vatican's still there. So, oh my gosh, what do you do? What do you do? Christians were prohibited by their faith from worshiping the Roman gods or burning incense before an image emperor. But Jesus even said, "Give to Rome what belongs to Rome." So if Rome's asking you for loyalty, and you're like, "No, my loyal God is only to Jesus Christ and Abba," or whatever they would say. I mean, Abba wasn't even used. Is Abba a Greek? Let's see. It means father, but they called the Lord Kyrios. They didn't really say Abba. Okay, so I'm looking up Abba just to like maybe concern myself with this word and the origins, and it's Chaldean, and Chaldeans are Zoroastrians, are fire worshippers. Look at here, Abba, Hebrew father. In the Chaldean emphatic state, a customary title of God in prayer, whenever it occurs in the New Testament, it has the Greek interpretation subjoined to it. This is apparently to be explained by the fact that the Chaldee Abba, though frequent use in prayer, gradually acquired the nature of a most sacred proper name, to which the Greek-speaking Jews added the appellative form from their own tongue. So Abba isn't a Greek word, it's Chaldean. And I'm right. So it's Zoroastrianism. Refusal resulted in the deaths of some notable Christians, including Pope Fabian, Bablas of Antioch, and Alexander of Jerusalem. It is not known how much of an effort was made by the authorities to check that everyone in the empire had a libellus certifying that they had sacrificed, but it's known that numerous Christians, including Cyprian, Bishop of Carthage, went into hiding. The numbers of people put to death for refusing to obtain a certificate is unknown. Large numbers of Christians performed this sacrifices as required, so much so that authorities at Carthage were overwhelmed by the number seeking a certificate and were forced to issue a notice requesting people to come back the next day. So, I mean, this is a test, right? You're being tested with death. Why are we always tested with death? Why is death test when death is fake? So, you're stupid. The effects of this edict on Christian communities, many of which had then lived peaceably and undisturbed, was traumatic. It's the test. Many lapsed in their faith, and their readmission in the Christian community was opposed. So that's a test for them too. Can you forgive people who abandon in the face of fear? By 251, efforts to enforce the edict had died down, and although short-lived, the deacon persecution became, in the collective memory of the church, an episode of monstrous tyranny. But that's the thing. I mean, you're faced with this new religious threat. You don't really know much about the Christian faith or Jesus, whatever it has, or the Sethians, or the cross, or the Furka. I'm digressing, but. And you're an emperor, you're trying to keep order. This keeps order. It's like, are you part of Rome or are you part of Jesus's kingdom? Christ's kingdom, the way. Are you part of the way? I don't know. This is the test. So I'm guessing all those people who died were, in a sense, raptured, raped. So it's pretty intense. It's like, do you want to be comfy on earth worshiping Rome, or do you want to just fucking get your ass kicked for worshiping Jesus? It's like, you're weighing your options. This fucking world's crazy.